Segu. My name is Jonathan Hamilton-Diabo, and I'm an assistant professor at Emmanuel College and Victoria College. I am currently teaching in 3 courses this semester. The first course that I'm teaching is in the Vic 1 program called School and Society. I am also teaching a 4th year course which is called Community Engaged Research. And at Emmanuel College, I'm part of the team teaching the new course, which is the Multi-Religious Theological Education and Leadership. And those are what I'm doing for this semester. For next semester, we'll be teaching an additional course on Indigenous relationships at Emmanuel. All of these courses are fully online, and I've actually been teaching them as synchronous. I felt that was the best approach over this semester in light of kind of what's been going on in the world. As for some of the challenges that I've been encountering since March, this has been really interesting. One of the things that I do miss is not being physically part of a community. I think it's really, you miss something when you're not together. We see each other in Zoom, but generally we have really direct purposes in why we do that. So that's an aspect I really miss. I miss when we get together that we have these opportunities of having casual conversations, catching up, sharing food, interacting with the students outside of the classroom, interacting with your peers, just moving from place to place and just getting a new experience. And so I really miss the on-campus experience. As for students in particular, things that I've noticed with new students is just not having that opportunity to connect with each other outside of the classroom. I think there are opportunities there, but it is not the same. And in particular, when we have students who are in different parts of either the city, there's the province, country, even the world, it's really hard to make those connections when you're even not in the same time zone. So I suspect that would be very tough for them. Other aspects I think for students as well, is it's just harder for them to experience the culture of the university when you're not there. And I think that's a big part, whether you're a new student as an undergraduate, a new student as a graduate student, it's difficult. And I think it is something that they have to adjust to. I know some people have talked about being overwhelmed in this format in addition, just because, number one, their preferred way of teaching or learning, being in the classroom. So I think that's something that we have to be mindful of as we're engaging with students, that this may not be their way of learning, it's their preference. And being in person, being in the classroom, having discussions, I think that's just a big piece that's missing right now. I think also a big challenge is just the fact that if we're doing whatever we're doing at home, either we're teaching or as a student, there's no physical break. And sometimes those boundaries between your life, your personal life, and either your work or class life kind of starts blending. And there's no way of making a physical break, where if you're on campus, your focus is on whatever you're supposed to be doing on campus, in a classroom, studying, teaching, whatever your role is. And it's harder to do when you're at home. So things become very blended. However, in spite of all that, I think there's been a lot of really interesting things that have happened, and surprising things. First of all, you're still able to find ways of building community. It is still not the same as you're in person, but I can't imagine what we'd be like right now if we didn't have these type of video conference technology available to us. If that wasn't there, we couldn't see each other face to face, and would be using telephones. That changes everything. So at least we have that opportunity to see each other. I think that's important to understand. This time has also really helped me to think about what's important and to prioritize things that I should be focusing on. And one of the things I do cherish is actually more time with my family. I would not be able to have this opportunity if I was off to work, and if my family was either off to work or off to school. And here we're with each other a lot. We do need to do what we need to do, and we do create our spaces for ourselves when we need them. But it's so different of just in the middle of the day. If we decide we all need a break and we go for a walk, we can go for a walk. We can get outside. And from my end, I'm very blessed that I'm able to do that. I've also had an appreciation of the resurgence of wildlife on these walks as well. And just seeing all the creatures out there that weren't out there before, or maybe I didn't notice. But it's just so amazing to see that. And I think it's necessary and a reminder that we as people are not the only ones here, and in the city in particular, if you're in a city, that we share this space with other beings. And I think that's important. My last thing, which is my own thing, what I really enjoy, I realize how much I enjoy wearing shorts. I get to do that all the time, and I'm much more comfortable. Some of my advice for those who, and not everyone's coping or handling this in the same way, and I understand circumstances are different, but I think it's really important that regardless of what you're doing, that you need to take breaks. You can't be sitting in front of a screen all the time, having earbuds or some kind of mechanism plugged in and a microphone and attention in front of a camera. We need to break from that. We can't always be sitting down. And I think that's really important. We have to have that opportunity to just go offline and go outside. Do things that you may have not tried before. My family and I are biking way more often than we ever biked, which is awesome. Or just go outside and take a book and read, but to get outside. I think physical activity is important though, so I will still encourage that. But even to get outside and get some air. And also just to find ways of continue your spiritual growth, because that's more difficult to do, because not all people have had the opportunity to return back to a church community or whatever the tradition is. They just not able to do so for various reasons, and to find ways of maintaining that and continually to connect people from your faith community as well, and finding ways to grow. The one thing that I think about, and it's always difficult because you think there's so many things that we encounter that we're challenged with, but the way I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to refer to Psalm 5, verse 3, and it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight." And again, some people, I understand, don't have the opportunity to be with their families. They've been separated because they can't travel. They're in other parts of the world, and that's really difficult. But to understand that you're never alone, and that there is a higher power for us to continually go to and rely on and trust. Now we'll go. Thank you.